36 hours have passed since Officer Marcus Bennett's son disappeared. Floodlights cut to the twilight as exhausted search teams report another failed grid sweep. Marcus, a decorated officer who has saved countless lives, is now helpless to save his own child. Welcome to Mr. Bryan's Tale, where every story takes you on an unforgettable journey. Whether it's thrilling adventures, heartwarming moments, or tales that'll keep you on the edge of your seat, this is your destination for captivating storytelling. If you love getting lost in exciting narratives and discovering new worlds with every video, you're in the right place. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe so you never miss out on the next amazing tale. Trust me, you won't want to miss what's coming next. Grace Miller was 12 years old, but she carried herself with the gravity of someone who'd already buried a parent. Atlas walked beside her, 80 pounds of muscle, scars, and a reputation that preceded him like a warning label. Absolutely not. Lieutenant Reeves said before Grace even spoke. That dog washed out of K-9 training. Bit 2 handlers. He's dangerous. Grace's jaw tightened. My dad didn't think so. Marcus studied the dog. Atlas had one ear that didn't stand quite right, a long scar across his muzzle, and eyes that seemed too intelligent for comfort. Everything about him screamed problem. Your father was a good man, Grace, Marcus said gently, but we have professional tracking dogs. Who haven't found Liam, Grace interrupted. She met his eyes without flinching. It's been 36 hours, Officer Bennett. How much longer are you going to wait? The words hit like a physical blow. Marcus looked at the forest, vast, dark, indifferent. He thought of Liam's Spider-Man backpack, his missing front tooth, the way he said Dad like it had 2 syllables. If that dog hurts anyone, Lieutenant Reeves began. He won't. Grace's voice was absolute certainty. Marcus made a decision that felt like stepping off a cliff. Give him something of Liam's. Grace knelt beside Atlas, her hand on his neck. Someone produced Liam's jacket from the command tent. She held it to Atlas's nose. The dog went completely still, processing, analyzing. Then his entire body language changed. Shoulders forward, head down. He pulled toward the woods. Not toward any of the established search grids. Toward the northeast quadrant that had been cleared twice already. He's got something, Grace said. Marcus grabbed his pack. Let's move. Atlas moved like he was hunting, not searching. His nose swept low across the ground, then lifted to taste the air. Every few yards, he'd pause, recalibrate, then surge forward with renewed certainty. He's taking us away from the search perimeter. Officer Hayes said over the radio. Bennett, you're heading into unsearched territory. That's the point, Marcus replied, his breath coming hard as he pushed through underbrush. Grace moved beside him with the ease of someone raised in these woods. Dad always said Atlas wasn't trained wrong. He was trained for something different. Military tracking, not civilian work. He doesn't follow the scent backward. He predicts forward, where the person is going, not where they've been. Your father was Special Forces? Marcus asked. K-9 handler. Afghanistan. Grace's voice carried old grief. Atlas was his partner. When Dad died, they were going to put Atlas down. Said he was too bonded, too aggressive without his handler. I begged him to let me try. The forest grew denser. Atlas navigated fallen logs and stream crossings with purpose. Marcus's radio crackled with skepticism from the command center, but he silenced it. Then Atlas stopped at a ravine. There's no way Liam crossed this, Marcus said, staring at the 15-foot drop to rushing water below. Atlas whined, pacing the edge. Then he found something, a narrow deer trail that switched back down the ravine wall. He went down, Grace said. She was already following Atlas. Marcus's mind raced. If Liam had tried to cross here, if he'd fallen. But Atlas wasn't searching the water. He'd crossed a fallen log like a bridge and was climbing the opposite bank. Still tracking. Still certain. Marcus followed the liability into the unknown. The forest on the far side of the ravine was old growth. Trees so thick that twilight reigned even at midday. Atlas moved faster now, his body language urgent. Marcus keyed his radio. We're 2 miles northeast of the last search grid. The dog is, he paused, not sure how to explain. He's locked on. Marcus, listen to me. Lieutenant Reeves's voice was tight. We need you back at command. We're bringing in an FBI child abduction team. This is starting to look like... Abduction? Marcus's blood went cold. No. Liam wandered off from our campsite. He was chasing something. A 6-year-old doesn't stay missing this long without help, Reeves said. Come back. Let the professionals handle this. Grace stopped, her hand on Atlas's collar. She met Marcus's eyes in the dim light. The question was unspoken. Do you trust us? Every instinct Marcus had been trained to follow said turn back. Follow protocol. Trust the system. But the system had failed for 36 hours. Continuing on current heading, Marcus said into the radio and turned it off. Atlas led them through a section of forest that showed signs of old fire damage. Blackened trunks, younger trees growing in the gaps. Then he stopped at something Marcus would have missed entirely. A small footprint in soft earth. Fresh. Liam, Marcus breathed, and then Atlas found it, wedged in the bark of a burnt tree, invisible unless you knew to look. A piece of red fabric. From Liam's Spider-Man jacket. Good boy, Grace whispered, her voice thick with emotion. Good boy, Atlas. The dog didn't pause for praise. He was already moving again, pulling harder now. They were close. The structure appeared like something from a ghost story, a hunting cabin so old and weathered it had nearly returned to the forest. Half the roof had collapsed. Windows gaped like empty eye sockets. Atlas went rigid, his hackles rising. A low growl built in his chest. What is it? Marcus whispered, his hand moving to his weapon. Then he heard it, faint, barely audible over the wind in the trees. Crying, Liam! Marcus shouted, breaking into a run. Wait, Grace called, but Atlas was already ahead of them both, charging the cabin's sagging door. Marcus burst through behind the dog and stopped. Liam sat in the far corner, dirty and tear-stained, his Spider-Man jacket torn, but alive, conscious, looking up at them with desperate hope. Dad! Marcus's knees nearly buckled with relief. He crossed the space in 3 strides, dropping beside his son, hands frantically checking for injuries. I've got you. You're okay. You're okay. I was chasing the deer, Liam sobbed. The baby deer with a hurt leg. I wanted to help it, but I got lost and it got dark and I couldn't find a way back and... Sure, I've got you now. Atlas approached slowly, his aggression melting into something gentler. He sniffed Liam carefully, then sat beside the boy like a guardian statue. Liam reached out with a small hand, touching Atlas's scarred muzzle. Is this the dog? The one they said was mean? Grace knelt beside them, her eyes shining with tears. He's not mean. He's a hero. Marcus looked at Atlas, at this failed K-9, this liability that everyone had written off. The dog met his gaze with calm, intelligent eyes. Yes, Marcus said quietly. Yes, he is. The helicopter lights swept across the forest canopy as the rescue team descended, but Marcus was already carrying Liam toward the clearing, Atlas and Grace flanking them like an honor guard. Lieutenant Reeves met them at the tree line, his expression moving from shock to relief to something like wonder. How did you... Atlas found him. Marcus said simply. 2 miles past where our dog stopped searching. The paramedics swarmed Liam, dehydrated, hypothermic, but miraculously unharmed. Marcus held his son's hand as they loaded him into the helicopter, unwilling to let go even for a moment. Dad, Liam said, can Atlas come with us? Marcus looked back at the scarred dog, sitting calmly beside Grace. Yeah, buddy, I think Atlas can come with us. 3 weeks later, the Ridgemont Police Department held a ceremony. Atlas sat at attention, a new collar around his neck. Midnight blue with search and rescue embroidered in silver. He'd gained weight, his coat was glossier, and the wariness in his eyes had softened to something like contentment. Chief Morrison presented Grace with a plaque. For Grace Miller and Atlas, whose courage and determination saved a life when all other efforts had failed. But the real ceremony happened afterward, in the Bennett family's backyard. Marcus knelt beside Atlas. Liam wrapped around the dog's neck in a hug that Atlas tolerated with patient dignity. "Your family now," Marcus said quietly, "if Grace agrees." Grace smiled, scratching Atlas behind his crooked ear. Dad always said Atlas needed a purpose. I think he found it. The liability had become a legend, and sometimes, Marcus thought, that's what heroes are, the ones everyone else gave up on, waiting for someone to believe. Atlas's tail thumped once against the ground. Understood. Atlas's journey from liability to lifesaver reminds us that value isn't determined by others' judgments. It's revealed in moments that matter most. Officer Marcus Bennett learned that sometimes the greatest courage isn't following protocol, but trusting your instinct when everything and everyone tells you to turn back. Grace Miller honored her father's legacy not by keeping Atlas safe, but by letting him do what he was born to do: save lives. And young Liam discovered that heroes don't always wear badges. Sometimes they wear scars and carry reputations that don't tell the whole story. In the end, the failed K-9 that two handlers had deemed too dangerous became the only one who could navigate the impossible. Atlas didn't succeed because he was perfect. He succeeded because when it mattered most, someone believed in him. And belief, as it turns out, can transform a liability into a legend. Let me know in the comments. Have you ever been underestimated like Atlas? What happened when you finally got your chance to prove everyone wrong? Would you have trusted Atlas in Marcus's position? Or would you have stuck with the professional search teams? What do you think made Atlas successful when the trained K-9 has failed? Was it his military training, his bond with Grace, or something else? If you were Officer Bennett, could you have made the choice to trust a liability dog when your child's life was at stake? Drop your thoughts below. Who's the real hero of this story? Atlas, Grace, or Marcus? Defend your answer. If the story moved you, don't forget to like this video to help others find Atlas's story. Subscribe to Mr. Bryan Tales for more incredible true stories of courage, redemption, and the unbreakable bonds between humans and animal speech balloons. Share your own story of second chances in the comments. Right arrow share this video with someone who needs to hear that being written off doesn't mean you're written out of the story. Remember, the world is full of Atlas stories, people, animals, and dreams that everyone calls liabilities until the moment they become legends. What's your comeback story? Stay tuned for the next Mr. Bryan Tales story, where we explore another extraordinary moment when the unexpected became unforgettable. Mr. Bryan Tales, where every story has a hero, and every hero has a story worth telling. A liability into a legend.